How's it going, everybody? Today what I'm going to be doing is comparing a couple of different apps that I've been using to help me learn Spanish. Number one is HelloTalk and number two is Duolingo. Now these are two completely different apps that have very different functions, so I'm going to go over some of that in this video. So check it out. How's it going, gringos and aspiring Latinos? My name is Justin Thompson and I am a gringo and I am trying to learn Spanish. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm using certain apps in order to help me accomplish this goal. Now, two of the apps that I'm going to go over today are very, very different, and I'm going to tell you guys how they're helpful, but then I'm also going to tell you guys how they're different and how I actually kind of use them together. Now, number one is Duolingo, and if you haven't heard of Duolingo, it's huge. It's a big, big deal. But the thing about Duolingo is that it's very, very gamified, and it makes you feel good because you get points or you get gems or you get, things like that that are exciting, and they make you feel like you're accomplishing a lot. When in reality, it might not actually be true. Yes, you will probably be learning some vocabulary along the way, and I think that that's what it's most helpful for, is actually learning vocabulary. It's not that great for learning grammatical stuff. It's not that great for practicing your speaking. It's not that great for even listening, because the voices in there are somewhat robotic. And so with Duolingo, I think it's very helpful to use it to kind of check on some specific subjects and vocabulary in those subjects, because as you go through the tree on Duolingo, you'll have different subjects that you're working your way through. Okay, and then of course the gamification part of it is as you move through, you'll unlock other things, and then you'll be able to kind of keep working your way through that. Believe me, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to do, and it makes you feel good because you get the ding every time you do something right, and it's really a fun app to use. But in terms of actually learning a language, I think it's only going to take you so far. It's not going to make you fluent. It's not going to make you be able to use the language extremely effectively. You may be able to read a little bit or be able to understand some things, words here and there, but in terms of becoming fluent and actually being able to understand and hear and speak it yourself, it's not really going to do that for you. There's no real feedback there for your listening and speaking, okay? So now let's move on to HelloTalk. And HelloTalk is a completely different application, okay? It's nothing like Duolingo whatsoever, but I want to share with you guys how I've been using it. So HelloTalk is basically a platform where you can go on and meet other native language speakers, okay? And you can do this for, I'm pretty sure, just about any language, any well-known language anyway. And so whenever I use HelloTalk, I'm using it obviously for Spanish, and I'm going through and I'm looking for people from areas of the world that I want to visit. Okay, so when I first got into HelloTalk, I was looking for people from like Colombia or Mexico or things like that. People who I've heard have fairly easy accents to understand, and it made it so that it was. And those are the areas that I want to visit, right? I want to be able to visit Mexico. I want to be able to understand Mexican people because there are actually quite a few Mexicans that live in my area. And then I also really like the idea of Colombia. I've been watching a lot of Colombian TV shows and things like that, and I think that their accent is a little bit easier to understand, at least for those in the Bogota area. Okay, so with HelloTalk, what you're trying to do is you're trying to connect yourself with native Spanish speakers, okay, or native language speakers, whatever language your target language is. I'm probably just going to keep saying Spanish because that's my goal. All right, so I'm trying to connect myself with native Spanish speakers, and basically what we're trying to do is connect and then help each other out with our given language, okay, with our desired language, right? So when I connected on here and I was trying to figure out how to use this, what to do with it, I started using the chat thing with the chat platform with a couple of people, and this is one of the most fun and effective ways to learn a language, in my opinion, if you are using an application. If you can't go somewhere and you just have to be at home, especially right now while everybody's in lockdown, and as I talk to all these people, they're all telling me that they're all in lockdown. So it's, right now, this is one of the best ways that you can start to learn a language, because you can't really immerse yourself if you can't go somewhere. You can do it to some degree with some of the things around you, but you can't really immerse yourself unless you're in that place, right? So for me, this has been really, really helpful to connect with a bunch of different people. And we do text messages, we do voice messages, and I've even connected with one or two and done some calls as well. And the platform has a lot of different tools in it. It has its own inbuilt translator, right? So you can just click on something and it will translate what was said for you if you do not understand it. And then it has this correction feature as well, where if somebody writes something to you in English, like somebody's writing something to me in English, I can go in and cross through and change things to make it more correct for them. Obviously, doing this with a lot of grace and a lot of trying to care for this person. Realize they're a person too, and you're not just going in there and like scratch, right? So when you're on HelloTalk, be nice to people. Make sure that they know that you are really trying to help them. You're not just trying to like, you suck, kind of thing. Okay, so I've found that HelloTalk has been one of the most helpful things there is. You can go in there and it's got like a timeline feed, kind of like Facebook, where you can kind of post, make posts, and you can do that in your target language, and people will comment and all this kind of stuff. So it's really, really a very cool app. Now, how do they work together? Duolingo and HelloTalk. Well, they don't necessarily work together, but I did use Duolingo starting out, and I found that it was very helpful to refresh any old vocabulary that I might have had from Spanish classes I took 12 years ago, okay? So I felt like it was really helpful to kind of re-engage me and kind of get me going again. And I think that it might be helpful for some beginners to kind of get introduced to a language. I think that that's the main thing that Duolingo is going to do, is it's going to introduce you to a new language. And for HelloTalk, now you have to start using the language. And that's why HelloTalk, I think, is one of the most effective platforms for learning a language if you cannot immerse yourself in it entirely. Okay? So let me know if you guys have any questions about either one of these, or if you guys want me to compare any other apps, because I have used Babbel, I have used italki, I haven't used Tandem. I've heard about Tandem, but I haven't used it, or Cambly, I haven't used that either. I think from what I hear, they're somewhat similar to HelloTalk. Haven't even explored them though. So let me know if there's any other videos you guys want me to do. But yeah, so that's all I've got for today. Make sure that you guys head on down there, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.